recording this. So please mute if you're not reading. And if you want to read, unmute. We are on chapter 59, the killing of the demon Naraka. So this is a very, very wonderful chapter. And we will begin it immediately after offering our respects to our spiritual masters. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devim Gaurivani Prachadane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadhyadesha Tarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu-Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, very, very good. Well, we're going to get started. Chapter 59 in the 10th canto. And for you guys who are joining us or may look later on the YouTube channel, Gayatri Dasa, you can find this in the Veda Base, VEDABASE.io, and you can follow along and you can read the purports and everything. We're just reading the actual verses to get the storyline. We're going to try to do 2 chapters reading tonight, and everybody is invited to join in on the reading. I'll start out. Normally I'll do 10 or 15, and then whoever desires to read can join after that. We've lost a couple of our folks here, probably due to technical problems because they're in the islands or wherever they might be. So please join us back if you can. We'd love to have you. So text 1, King Pariksit said, how was Bhaumasura, who kidnapped so many women, killed by the Supreme Lord? Please narrate this adventure of Saragnadava's. Wow. That's one that you don't normally see. Sarangadava's. This is another name for the Lord. Sukadeva Goswami said, after Bhama had stolen the earrings belonging to Indra's mother, along with Varuna's umbrella and the demigod's playground at the peak of Mandara mountain, Indra went to Lord Krishna and informed him of these misdeeds. The Lord, taking his wife Satyabhama with him, then rode on Garuda to Pragyoshtisa Pura, which was surrounded on all sides by fortifications consisting of hills, unmanned weapons, water, fire, and wind, and by obstructions of Murapasa wire. With his club, the Lord broke through the rock fortifications. With his arrows, the weapons fortifications. With his disc, the fire, water, and wind fortifications, and with his sword, the Murapasa cables. With the sound of his conch shell, Lord Gadadhar then shattered the magic seals of the fortress, along with the hearts of its brave defenders, and with his heavy club, he demolished the surrounding earthen ramparts. The 5-headed demon Mura, who slept at the bottom of the city's moat, awoke and rose up out of the water when he heard the vibration of the Lord Krishna's Panchanjanya conch shell, a sound as terrifying as the thunder at the end of the cosmic age. Shining with the blinding, terrible effulgence of the sun's fire at the end of a millennium, Mura seemed to be swallowing up the 3 worlds with his 5 mouths. He lifted his trident and fell upon Garuda, the son of Tarksha, like an attacking snake. Mura whirled his trident and then hurled it fiercely at Garuda, roaring from all 5 mouths. The sound filled the earth and sky, all directions, and the limits of outer space, until it reverberated against the very shell of the universe. Then, with 2 arrows, Lord Hari struck the trident, flying towards Garuda, and broke it into 3 pieces. Next, the Lord hit Mura's faces with several arrows, and the demon angrily hurled his club at the Lord. As Mura's club sped towards him on the battlefield, Lord Gadaraj intercepted it with his own, and broke it into thousands of pieces. Mura then raised his arms high and rushed at the unconquerable Lord, who easily sliced off his heads with his disc weapon. Lifeless, Mura's decapitated body fell into the water like a mountain whose peak has been severed by the power of Lord Indra's thunderbolt. The demon's 7 sons, enraged by their father's death, prepared to retaliate. Ordered by Bhaumasura, Mura's 7 sons, Tamra, Antariksha, Shravana, Bidhavasu, Vasu, Nabhasvan, and Aruna, followed their general, Pita, onto the battlefield bearing their weapons. These fierce warriors furiously attacked the invincible Lord Krishna with arrows, swords, clubs, spears, lances, and tridents. But the Supreme Lord, with unfailing prowess, cut this mountain of weapons into tiny pieces with his arrows. Who would like to read next? Anybody? Text 14.
Yep.
Wow.
14. The Lord severed the heads, thighs, arms, legs, and armor of these opponents, led by Peter, and sent them all to the abode of Yamaraj. Narakasura, the son of the earth, could not contain his fury when he saw the fate of his military leaders. Thus he went out of the citadel with elephants born from the milk ocean, who were exuding mudder from their foreheads out of excitement. Lord Krishna and his wife, mounted upon Garuda, looked like a cloud with lightning sitting above the sun. Seeing the Lord, Bhuma released his Satagni weapon at him, whereupon all of Bauma's soldiers simultaneously attacked with their weapons. At that moment, Lord Gadagraja shot his sharp arrows at Bhumasura's army. These arrows, displaying variegated feathers, soon reduced the army to a mass of bodies with severed arms, thighs, and necks. The Lord similarly killed the opposing horses and elephants. Lord Hari then struck down all the missiles and weapons the enemy's soldiers threw at him. O hero of the Kurus, destroying each and every one with 3 sharp arrows. Meanwhile, Garuda, as he carried the Lord, struck the enemy's elephants with his wings. Beaten by Garuda's wings, beak, and talons, the elephants fled back into the city, leaving Narakasura alone on the battlefield to oppose Krishna. Seeing his army driven back and tormented by Garuda, Bauma attacked him with his spear, which had once defeated Lord Indra's thunderbolt. But though struck by that mighty weapon, Garuda was not shaken. Indeed, he was like an elephant hit with a flower garland. Bauma, frustrated in all his attempts, took up his trident to kill Lord Krishna. But even before he could release it, the Lord cut off his head with his razor-sharp chakra as the demon sat atop his elephant. Fallen on the ground, Baumasura's head shone brilliantly, decorated as it was with earrings and an attractive helmet. As cries of "Alas, alas," and "Well done" arose, the sages and principal demigods worshipped Lord Mukunda by showering him with flower garlands. The goddess of the earth then approached Lord Krishna and presented him with the deity's earrings, which were made of glowing gold inlaid with shining jewels. She also gave him a Vajanti flower garland. Karuna's umbrella, and the peak of Mandara mountain. O king, after bowing down to him and then standing with joined palms, the goddess, her mind filled with devotion, began to praise the Lord of the universe, whom the best of demigods worship. Should I stop there?
Yep,
Okay.
that's pretty good. Anybody else want to grab some of that? How about you want to try some, Robert? We're on what text? 25 now? Yep. You want to
Maybe,
try?
maybe not today. I'm a little bit lost where we are. So
Hey, don't worry. You can follow along. Pomsy,
yeah,
are you there? Are you available? Jai? They may not, they're there, but they may not be available to read right now. So what we'll do is we'll keep reading and see if sometimes people join and or they'll pop on the screen. So we'll just keep reading. And you're not on the spot, so don't worry. If you don't get a word or you don't get a name right, just let us know. We'll try to correct it. Some of these are even new to me.
just ask me, which chapter are you on?
Chapter 59 on the 10th
59.
canto. 10th
Okay.
canto. So you got to go to
All right.
Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th
I'm
canto,
there. Just got
chapter
to get
59.
59.
Yeah, go to 59 and then go to text 25.
Got it.
Got it? You want to read a little bit? Give it a
Maybe
shot. It's
we'll
not a
give it a
problem.
shot. Okay, give me there text 25. Give me a second.
Yep.
Or
Okay,
otherwise, Ajay has said he can read whilst Robert gets
good.
himself, together.
Where's at? I don't
Yeah,
see him.
that'll work.
Yeah, he sent a message.
Oh, okay. Go
Yeah.
ahead and read it, Jeff.
Goddess Bhumi said, Obey senses unto you, O Lord of the chief demigods, O holder of the conch shell, disc, and club, O supreme soul. Within the heart, you assume your various forms to fulfill your devotees' desires. Obey senses unto you. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. Text 27. Obeisances unto you, the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, Vishnu, the primeval person, the original seed. The obeisances unto you, the omniscient one. Text 28. Obeisances unto you of unlimited energies, the unborn progenitor of this universe, the absolute. O soul of the high and the low, O soul of the created elements, O all-pervading supreme soul, obeisances unto you. Text 29. Desiring to create, O unborn master, you increase and then assume the mode of passion. You do likewise with the mode of ignorance. When you wish to annihilate the universe, and with goodness, when you wish to maintain it, nonetheless, you remain uncovered by these modes. Your time, the pradhana, and the pursha, O Lord of the universe, yet still you are separate and distinct. Text 30. This is illusion. The earth, water, fire, air, ether, sense objects, demigods, mind, the senses, false ego, and the total material energy exist independent of you. In fact, they are all within you, my Lord, who are one without a second. Text 31. Here's the son of Pamasura. Frightened, he is approaching your lotus feet, since you remove the distress of all who seek refuge in you. Please protect him. Place your lotus hand, which dispels all sins, upon his head. Text 32. Sukadeva Goswami said, thus entreated by Goddess Bhumi in words of humble devotion, the Supreme Lord bestowed fearlessness upon her grandson and then entered Bhamasura's palace, which was filled with all manner of riches. Text 33. There, Lord Krishna saw 16,000 royal maidens who Bhoma had taken by force from various kings. Text 34. The woman became enchanted when they saw that most excellent of males enter. In their minds, they each accepted him who had been brought there by destiny as their chosen husband. Text 35. With the thought, may Providence grant that this man become my husband. Each and every princess absorbed her heart in contemplation of Krishna. Text 36. The Lord had the princesses arrayed in clean, spotless garments, and then sent them in palanquins to Dwarka, together with great treasures of chariots, horses, and other valuables. Text 37. Lord Krishna also dispatched 64 swift white elephants, descendants of Airavata, who each supported 4 tusks. Text 38-39. The Lord then went to the abode of Indra, the demigod's king, and gave Mother Aditi her earrings. There, Indra and his wife worshipped Krishna and his beloved consort Satyabhama. Then, at Satyabhama's behest, the Lord uprooted the heavenly Parajita tree and put it on the back of Garuda. After defeating Indra and all the other demigods, Krishna brought the Parajita to his capital. Text 40. Once planted, the Parajita tree beautified the garden of Queen Satyabhama's palace. Bees followed the tree all the way from heaven, greedy for its fragrance and sweet sap. Text 41. Even after Indra had bowed down to Lord Achyuta, touched his feet with the tips of his crown, and begged the Lord to fulfill his desire, that exalted demigod, having achieved his purpose, chose to fight with the Supreme Lord. What ignorance there is among the gods! To hell with their opulence. Text 42. Then the imperishable Supreme Personality, assuming a separate form for each bride, Delhi married all the princesses simultaneously, each in her own palace. Text 43. The Lord Performer of the inconceivable constantly remained in each of his queen's palaces, which were unequaled and unexcelled by any other residence. There, although fully satisfied within himself, he enjoyed with his pleasing wives, and like an ordinary husband, he carried out his household duties. Text 44. Thus those women obtained as their husband the husband of the goddess of fortune. Although even great demigods like Brahma do not know how to approach him, with ever-increasing pleasure they experience loving attraction for him, exchanged smiling glances with him, and reciprocated with him in ever-fresh intimacy, replete with joking and feminine shyness. Text 45. All the Supreme Lord's queen each had hundreds of maidservants. They chose to personally serve the Lord by approaching him humbly, offering him a seat, worshiping him with excellent paraphernalia, bathing and massaging his feet, giving him pan to chew, fanning him, anointing him with fragrant sandalwood paste, adorning him with flower garlands, dressing his hair, arranging his bed, bathing him, and presenting him with various gifts.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's a great chapter. I love that chapter. I think we have time to read the next chapter if you want to. These are just pastimes of the Lord. And there's a little philosophy here. We'll come back to some of this at the end, but mainly it's storyline, and we might as well just enjoy it. Great reading, Ajay. Thank you so much for that. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
So, yeah, who wants to pick up there on chapter 60? Lord Krishna teases Queen Rukmini. This is a pretty intense chapter. It's fun chapter, but not so much fun for Rukmini at one point. But she recovers. Okay, so let's check this out. Who wants to read there? Text 1. Robert, you ready yet?
Yeah, I'll read a little. I'm ready.
Go for it, buddy.
This chapter describes how Lord Krishna provoked.
No, we're just reading the
Oh, the text?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay,
If
here
we
we
did
go.
that, we'd be here for a few days. So we're just reading
I
through
understand.
the text. And if there's
All right.
any issue with words, let me know. We'll help.
All right. Sri Badarayani said, once in the company of her maidservants, Queen Rukmini was personally serving her husband, the spiritual master of the universe, by fanning him as he relaxed on her bed. The unborn personality of Godhead, the supreme controller, who creates, maintains, and then devours this universe simply as his play, took birth among the Yadis to preserve his own laws. Queen Rukmini's quarters were extremely beautiful, boasting a canopy hung with brilliant strings of pearls, as well as effulgent jewels serving as lamps. Garlands of jasmine and other flowers hung here and there, attracting swarms of humming bees. The spotless rays of the moon shone through the holes of the lattice windows. As a guru, incense drifted out of the window holes. My dear king, the breeze wafting the scent of the Parijata groove, Parijata groove carried the mood of a garden into the room. There the queen served her husband, the supreme lord of all the worlds, as he reclined upon an opulent pillow on her bed, which was as soft and white as the foam of milk. From her maidservant's hand, Goddess Rukmini took a yak hair fan with a jeweled handle, and then she began to worship her master by fanning him. Her hand adorned with rings, bangles, and the Kamara fan. Queen Rukmini looked resplendent standing near Lord Krishna. Her jeweled ankle bells tinkled, and her necklace glittered, reddened by the kunkama from her breasts, which were covered on the ends of her sari. Her hips she wore a priceless belt. As he contemplated her, the goddess of fortune herself, who desired only him, Lord Krishna, smiled. The Lord assumes various forms to enact his pastimes, and he was pleased that the form of the goddess of fortune had assumed was just suitable for her to serve as his consort. Her charming face was adorned with curling hair, earrings, and a locket on her neck, and the nectar of her bright, happy smile. The Lord then spoke to her as follows. The Supreme Lord said, "My dear princess, you were sought after by many kings as powerful as the rulers of planets. They were all abundantly endowed with political influence, wealth, beauty, generosity, and physical strength. Since your brother and father offered you to them, why did you reject the king of Sidai and all those other suitors who stood before you, maddened by Cupid? Why instead did you choose us, who are not at all your equal? Terrified of these kings, O lovely browed one, you took shelter in the ocean. We have become enemies of powerful men, and we practically abandon our royal throne. O fine browed lady, women are usually destined to suffer when they stay with men whose behavior is uncertain and who pursue a path not approved by society. We have no material possessions, and we are dear to those who similarly have nothing. Therefore, O slender one, the wealthy hardly ever worship me. Marriage and friendship are proper between two people who are equal in terms of their wealth, birth, influence, physical appearance, and capacity for good progeny, but never between a superior and an inferior. Oh,
Darby.
Vadarbi, not being farsighted, you didn't realize this, and therefore you chose us as your husband, even though we have no good qualities and are glorified only by deluded beggars. Now you should definitely accept a more suitable husband, a first-class man of the royal order who can help you achieve everything you want both in this life and the next. I'm going to stop right there.
Okay, that was good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's good. Very good. So how about you, Vamsi? Look at Vamsi.
Hare
Hey,
Krishna.
all right, well, Vamsi's going to go for it now. Take us at
Okay,
18.
okay, text 18.
Yep.
Kings like Shishupala, Shalva, Jarasandha, and Dandavakra all hate me. O beautiful tide one, and so does your elder brother Rukmi. Text 19. It was to dispel the arrogance of these kings that I carried you away, my good woman. For they were blinded by intoxication of power. My purpose was to curb the strength of the wicked. Text 20. We care nothing for wives, children, and wealth. Always satisfied within ourselves, we do not work for body and home, but like a light, we merely witness. Text 21. Sukadeva Goswami said, Rukmini had thought herself especially beloved by the Lord because he never left her company. By saying these things to her, he vanquished her pride, and then he stopped speaking. Text 22. Goddess Rukmini had never before heard such unpleasantries from her beloved, the Lord of universal rulers, and she became frightened. A tremor arose in her heart, and in terrible anxiety she began to cry. Text 23. With her tender foot effulgent with the reddish glow of her nails, she scratched the ground, and tears darkened by her eye makeup sprinkled her kumkum-reddened breasts. There she stood face downwards, her voice choked up by extreme sorrow. Text 24. Rukmini's mind was overwhelmed with unhappiness, fear, and grief. Her bangles slipped from her hand, and her fan fell to the ground. In her bewilderment, she suddenly fainted. Her hair scattered all about as her body fell to the ground like a plantain tree blown over by the wind. Text 25. Seeing that her beloved was so bound to him in love that she could not understand the full meaning of his teasing, merciful Lord Krishna felt compassion for her. Text 26. The Lord quickly got down from the bed, manifesting four hands. He picked her up, gathered her hair, and caressed her face with his lotus hand. Text 27, 28. Wiping her tear-filled eyes and her breasts, which were stained by tears of grief, the Supreme Lord, the goal of his devotees, embraced his chaste wife, who desired nothing but him, O king. Expert in the art of pacification, Sri Krishna tenderly consoled pitiable Rukmini, whose mind was bewildered by his clever joking and who did not deserve to suffer so. Text 29. The Supreme Lord said, O Vaidharbi, do not be displeased with me. I know that you are fully devoted to me. I only spoke in jest, dear lady, because I wanted to hear what you would say. Text 30. I also wanted to see your face with lips trembling in loving anger, the reddish corners of your eyes throwing sidelong glances, and the line of your beautiful eyebrows knit in a frown. Text 31. The greatest pleasure worldly householders can enjoy at home is to spend time joking with their beloved wives. My dear timid and temperamental one. 32. Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, Queen Vaidarbhi was fully pacified by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and understood that his words had been spoken in jest. Thus, she gave up her fear that her beloved would reject her. Text 33. Smiling bashfully as she cast charming, affectionate glances upon the face of the Lord, the best of males, Rukmini spoke the following. O descendant of Bharata, Sri Rukmini said, Actually, what you have said is true, O lotus-eyed one. I am indeed unsuitable for the almighty personality of Godhead. What comparison is there between that Supreme Lord, who is the master of the three primal deities and who delights in his own glory, and myself, a woman of mundane qualities, whose feet are grasped by fools? Text 35. Yes, my lord Urukrama, you lay down within the ocean as if afraid of the material modes, and thus in pure consciousness you appear within the heart as the supersoul. You are always battling against the foolish material senses, and indeed even your servants reject the privilege of royal dominion, which leads to the blindness of ignorance. Text 36. Your movements, inscrutable, even for sages who relish the honey of your lotus feet, are certainly incomprehensible for human beings who behave like animals. And just as your activities are transcendental, O all-powerful Lord, so too are those of your followers. Text 37. You possess nothing because there is nothing beyond you. Even the great enjoyers of tribute, Brahma and other demigods, pay tribute to you. Those who are blinded by their wealth and absorbed in gratifying their senses do not recognize you in the form of death. But to the gods, the enjoyers of tribute, you are most dear, as they are to you. Text 38. You are the embodiment of all human goals and are yourself the final aim of life. Desiring to attain you, O all-powerful Lord, intelligent persons abandon everything else. It is they who are worthy of your association, not men and women absorbed in the pleasures and griefs resulting from their mutual lust. Text 39. Knowing that great sages who have renounced the sannyasi's danda proclaim your glories, that you are the supreme soul of all the worlds, and you are so gracious that you give away even your own self. I chose you as my husband, rejecting Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the rulers of the heavens, whose aspirations are all frustrated by the force of time, which is born from your eyebrows. What interest then could I have in any other suitors? Text 40. My lord, as a lion drives away lesser animals to claim his proper tribute, you drove off the assembly of kings with the resounding twang of your saranga bow, and then claimed me, your fair share. Thus it is sheer foolishness, my dear Gadagraja, for you to say you took shelter in the ocean out of fear of those kings. Text 41. Wanting your association, the best of kings, Anga, Vainya, Jayanta, Nahusha, Gaya, and others abandoned their absolute sovereignty and entered the forest to seek you out. How could those kings suffer frustration in this world, O lotus-eyed one? The aroma of your lotus feet, which is glorified by great saints, awards people liberation and is the abode of goddess Lakshmi. What women would take shelter of any other man after savoring that aroma? Since you are the abode of the transcendental qualities, what mortal woman with the insight to distinguish her own true interests would disregard that fragrance and depend instead on someone who is always subjected to terrible fear? Text 43. Because you are suitable for me, I have chosen you, the master and the supreme soul of all the worlds. You fulfill our desires in this life and the next. May your feet, which give freedom from illusion by approaching their worshipper, give shelter to me, who have been wandering from one material situation to another. Text 44. O infallible Krishna, let each of the kings who you named become the husband of a woman whose ears have never heard your glories, which are sung in the assembly of Shiva and Brahma. After all, in the households of such women, these kings live like asses, oxen, dogs, cats, and slaves. Text 45. A woman who fails to relish the fragrance of the honey of your lotus feet becomes totally befooled, and thus she accepts as her husband or lover a living corpse, covered with skin, whiskers, nails, head hair, and body hair, and filled with flesh, bones, blood, parasites, feces, mucus, bile, and air. Should I?
Woo!
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
Okay. Text 46. O lotus-eyed one, though you are satisfied within yourself and thus rarely turn your attention towards me, please bless me with the steady love of your feet. It is when you assume a predominance of passion in order to manifest the universe that you glance upon me, showing me what is indeed your greatest mercy. Text 47. Actually, I don't consider your words false, Madhusudana. Quite often, an unmarried girl is attracted to a man, as in the case of Amba. Text 48. The mind of a promiscuous woman always hankers for a new lovers, even if she is married. An intelligent man should not keep such an unchaste wife, for if he does, he will lose his good fortune both in this life and the next. Text 49. The Supreme Lord said, O saintly lady, O princess, we deceived you only because we wanted to hear you speak like this. Indeed, everything you said in reply to my words is most certainly true. Text 50. Whatever benedictions you hope for in order to become free of material desires are ever yours, O fair and noble lady, for you are my unalloyed devotee. O sinless one, I have now seen firsthand the pure love and chaste attachment you have for your husband. Even though shaken by my words, your mind could not be pulled away from me. Although I have the power to award spiritual liberation, lusty persons worship me with penance and vows in order to get my blessings for their mundane family life. Such persons are bewildered by my illusory energy. O supreme reservoir of love, unfortunate are they who even after obtaining me, the Lord of both liberation and material riches, hanker only for material treasures. These worldly gains can be found even in hell. Since such persons are obsessed with sense gratification, hell is a fitting place for them. Fortunately, O mistress of the house, you have always rendered my faithful devotional service, which liberates one from material existence. This service is very difficult for the envious to perform, especially for a woman whose intentions are wicked, who lives only to gratify her bodily demands, and who indulges in duplicity. In all my palaces, I can find no other woman as loving as you, O most respectful one. When you were to be married, you disregarded all the kings who had assembled to seek your hand, and simply because you had heard authentic accounts concerning me, you sent a Brahmana to me with your confidential message. When your brother, who had been defeated in battle and then disfigured, was later killed during a gambling match on Anuruddha's wedding day, you felt unbearable grief. Yet, out of fear of losing me, you spoke not a word. By this silence, you have conquered me. When you sent the messenger with your most confidential plan, and yet I delayed going to you, you began to see the whole world as void and wanted to quit your body, which could never have been given to anyone but me. May this greatness of yours remain with you always. I can do nothing to reciprocate except joyfully thank you for your devotion. Sukadeva Goswami said, and so the self satisfied Supreme Lord of the universe enjoyed with the goddess of fortune, engaging her in lovers' talk and thus imitating the ways of human society. Text 59. The Almighty Lord Hari, preceptor of all the worlds, similarly behaved like a conventional householder in the palaces of his other queens, performing the religious duties of a family man. Hare
Whoa. Wow. What wonderful chapters. It's amazing. Amazing. stories. We need to kind of interpret some of this, not interpret, but unpack, I would say, some of this a little bit for the benefit of everyone. And are there any comments or questions right off the bat that anybody has regarding these two stories that you want to discuss, or you want to just kind of recap them and see what we come up with as we go? We only have about 15 minutes, maybe a little less.
Bhavananda had a point, a really good point.
Go
Did you
ahead.
want to say it? Yamaraj?
Yamaraj, yes. Back in
The-
chapter 59, text 14, it
Mhm.
said the Lord cut off all these arms and legs and sent them all to the
Yamaraj.
abode of Yamaraj. That's where you don't want to go. I thought all of our instructions in the past was anybody that was killed by the Lord
Gets liberated.
gets liberated.
All right. Now that's a side question that I don't know that we have a ready answer for. Vamsi, do you have one for that? Why would the Lord send all the arms and legs and everything of all these kings to Yamaraj? Maybe because they had some atonement still yet to do, before they could be liberated. We know that the Lord has done things in different chapters that we've read so far where he's delayed the ultimate liberation. I mean, even with Prahlad, he made Prahlad accept the kingdom of the earth first for a long, long period of time before he was given that ultimate, I guess, liberation at the end. So same thing with who is it? Is it Bali who's got is it the North Star? Is that what that is? You see what I'm saying? These kingdoms within the world the Lord has given. And there might be nuances that we're not unaware of. I mean, some of these stories are a little bit what you might call the essence of the greater Puranas and the Mahabharata in particular. So there may be expansions of these stories there that we may not be up to date with. What do you think, Bombs? You know anything about this?
Yeah, so one thing to note is Krishna in Dwaraka is an expansion of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. He's slightly different from from Vrindavan Krishna, who is the primeval Lord who is never fighting with anybody, and so I'm guessing it's those demons who he killed in Vrindavan were the ones who immediately got liberation, but those who like were fighting with his awe and reverence form of Dwaraka Krishna probably have to go through some of the atonement in the Yamaraj. Again, this is my speculation; it is not authentic. So, just
Well, and I mean, at this point, we're left to a little bit of that because we may not have the right information, and we might want to do a little study on that question, Ranga, if you don't mind. Keep that question written down, and let's see if we can do even further research on this, or you, Vamsi, or whoever wants to do, and bring that back to the table. I hear stories from the Indian-bodied people all the time who came up with all these stories that are elaborate stories that are expansions of the stories that we sometimes hear in Srimad Bhagavatam. And I'm always amazed. I'm like, wow, where did you get that at? So they were raised with these stories. Some of them may or may not even be Shastric, if you know what I'm saying. But there are a lot of great stories about the Lord. And anytime someone's great talk will happen, sometimes people metamorphosize these stories. Earlier today, Robert and I were talking about how important it is to keep the stories as it is. In other words, Prabhupada was very careful to translate the Sanskrit language as it is so that we could hear what Krishna had to say, exactly what he had to say, and what exactly he meant to say, instead of some interpretation that we might add. So, excellent question, Bhavananda. You're stumping the crowd here tonight with that one, but I would say that they probably need additional atonement. And that's not unusual. As we've read through the Srimad Bhagavatam, we've seen that in many cases people need additional atonement. Kamsa came back and killed his own children. And then he was killed by Krishna. And then he got a body that was similar to the Lord's. So the idea is Krishna has a plan for everyone. And the story is very intricate. It's like, have you ever looked at the inner workings of a clock, like a watch on your hand? You see there's a big wheel, then there's all these little wheels all around. And if you keep going, they get smaller and smaller, and they're all turning just perfectly. So this is Krishna's mind. It works in the same way. And everything that he touches actually is benefited. There's nothing that's not benefited. And all of the stories that we hear are there to either increase the ecstasy, like in this case with Rukmini, to increase her ecstasy. You see what I'm saying? Because she fainted away, and Krishna had to pick her up and bring her back to literally life by stroking her face and so many things like that we heard about earlier. And it proved to Krishna also that her devotion was unalloyed, that she wouldn't accept any of these other kings, and that, her body was his alone, like this. So ultimately, we all have to follow in these examples that we see, these great, these in many cases, expansions of the Lord, even, how they interact with the Lord himself, and how the message is clearly indicated in their activities. Robert, you and I were talking about this earlier today, weren't we? About how you can follow these practical stories, and you'll see that they have stories within stories within stories within the story, and everybody in the greater story becomes benefited in wonderful, wonderful ways. Purichanaya Sadhanam, we talked about that. The Lord's coming to save the sadhus. Vinashyacha Duskatam, he's going to kill the demons. He's going to reestablish the principles of religion, and he's coming to do that. And so every act that he does is fulfilling his primary mission, really, which is to do those things when he comes to the material world. Even though the Lord never really enters the material world, he is here performing these pastimes for our benefit. So, excellent question. Any other questions or thoughts about this?
There's a point about the Lord killing a five-headed demon Mura who was protecting the uh, the 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 Narakasura or Baumasura who was keeping all the women captive. Um, so when the Lord killed Mura demon, that's how he got the name Murari. And I know Murari Sevak is the temple next to you. So it's good that we covered that name of the Lord in this pastime.
The Mura demon, yeah. So
Mm.
Murari, the one who's killing the Mura demon, right?
Yeah.
Very wonderful
I
story.
asked the ultimate authority this question.
Okay.
Okay, ChatGPT.
It says at the bottom, ChatGPT can make mistakes, so be careful.
Hopefully.
Well,
Yes.
it sounds reasonable, but I've uploaded it onto our Great Histories WhatsApp group. But basically, it says, in short, Narakasura, personally slain by Krishna, he got spiritual liberation or exalted destination because he was deeply absorbed in the Lord, even though as an enemy of the Lord, he was deeply absorbed. His soldiers were ordinary fighters, so they weren't absorbed in Krishna. They were just there because it was just their duty. They'd been told to fight because their Lord told them to fight and things. And so they had to go to Yamaraj for karmic judgment. And I sent the full explanation then onto our WhatsApp group.
That's good. My
So it's
my
sort of what you said as well.
So that's good. I mean, that's logical sense. That makes sense,
Mm.
It does. And that could be very understandable because, if you're not ready, you're just not ready. You got to come back for different reasons. I mean, even Narada Muni, I mean, if we look at these personalities who came back, for whatever purposes it was, to serve the Lord. And Narada Muni is an expansion of God. He's an actual avatar. So who knows? Krishna's doing this stuff and we're witnessing it. But that's great explanation, and that sounded about right logically to me. So the things that stuck out in my mind about the stories were the prayers. that we heard from these beautiful Rukmini's prayers here. Let's see, where did they? Let's see if we can find a little bit of those prayers here for you to hear. Any other questions as we're looking those up? I think they start somewhere. 25. Yeah, 25.
I was thinking in these two chapters, we get a lot of Krishna's different names. He's referred to in a lot of different names, which I thought was interesting in this one. There's a lot of them.
That's exactly right. And the Lord has got how many names, Vamsi, does the Lord have?
Thousands.
He has unlimited, right?
Yeah.
There's the Vishnu Sahasranam. There's all these different, thousands and thousands and thousands of names. The Lord actually has unlimited names because he has unlimited qualities. So his names are attached to his qualities. So yes, Mura, the killing of the Mura demon. So that's a famous situation. And the five-headed demon. Very, very wonderful story. But what we find out here is this, that these prayers, Goddess Rukmini, this is Goddess Bhumi that said these first prayers. And she said, obeisances unto you, Lord, chief of the demigods, holder of the conch shell disc and club. You are the supreme soul within the heart. You assume various forms to fulfill your devotees' desires. So we got to get clear on that. The Lord is assuming these forms to fulfill the devotees' desires. So the Lord ultimately comes as time. Time I am, the destroyer of all the worlds. I've come to engage everyone. So the Lord he's coming for us one way or the other. Always, everyone. Because we belong to the Lord. We come from the Lord. We go back to the Lord. And so the Lord is coming one way or the other. But if you're absorbed in the Lord, like you were just talking about, Ranga.
Yeah.
You're absorbed in the Lord's coming to reciprocate that rasa with you. So if you want to fight with the Lord, hey, get ready. He'll come for you. You can fight. He likes it. Or if you're, are in the mood of Madhurya Ras and you're in love with the Lord like that, he'll come for you and save you and make you his own in those situations. Or if you're friendly with the Lord, you'll have a relationship like these wonderful devotees like Arjuna and so forth and so on that have these incredible relationships. And if you're, awe and reverent with the Lord, then you can enjoy the Lord in this Dasharas, which is to serve the Lord in these moods of devotion and carry out his orders without fail. So the Lord has given us plenty of opportunity here to come to him. And we find all this out through the parampara system. If you want to know the truth, you have to go through the parampara system. 4.2, Krishna says, Ivam parampara praptam, imam rajarsiyovidu, sa kalena mahata, yogo nashta parantapa. So this science was delivered to these kings in a chain of disciplic succession. It was handed down. Saintly kings all understood it this way because they all had priests, they had gurus. All the kings were under the ultimate scrutiny of the sadhu, of the Brahmin. So, and they understood it in this succession. But that chain is broken from time to time, and therefore Krishna comes again and again. So, but we know who is God. And how do we know who is God? We hear it from the mouth of the first created being in the universe, Lord Brahma. And what does he say? First verse in his Brahma Samhita, he describes exactly who God is. He doesn't beat around the bush at all. He nails it on the first verse. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana. So we know that Krishna is God, one without a second. Adir Govinda, further known, in case you had any doubt about it, he's cowherd boy. Okay, he plays the flute, got a peacock feather on his head. He's blue. Check it out, right? We talked about this lady who died for about, 5 or 6 days she died. She was dead. She woke up And first thing she said was, I saw God and he was blue. So who knows? Who knows? Since we're speculating, let's go ahead, right? So that's what she said. Krishna is blue. So we know who Krishna is. He has a body that's eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, with form, vigraha. So we can know who God is. He's not just a bright light. That is his effulgence, of course. But beyond the light, behind the light, there's a person. And that person is as close to you as you are. He is the very soul of your soul. And you're a part and parcel of that Lord, of that God. So we know who God is because we listen through the parampara system. And we know that he's coming again and again and again to establish the yada yada, yuge. He's coming again, whenever, wherever, millennium after millennium. He's coming again and again, trying to fix this situation. And Krishna guarantees in the Bhagavad Gita 4:9, he says, Janma karma chamedivyam evam yo veti tatpataha chakcham deham panar janma naitimam eti sorjana. If you just even knew who he was, if you knew about his appearance, if you understood his activities, simply by studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, these pastimes, under the guidance of the authorized spiritual master, then you will attain to his eternal abode. You're not coming back to this world to die. That it's over at that point. You don't have to worry about it again. You're not coming back. So that's why we study the Srimad Bhagavatam. Even if we don't understand everything perfectly well, we can understand enough to know who is God. What is his activities? Why is he performing these activities? And we know the actual details of God. If you want to go down the street and ask anybody, here's your microphone, sir, do you know who is God? What do you think they're going to say to you? I mean, let's just be honest, okay? I mean, how much information do they really have? Did they know about Rukmini? Did they know about the 16,108 wives? Do they know about all this? No. Do they understand any of these stories that we're talking about? These are activities of the Lord that attract the mind. We can fall in love with Krishna when we understand. He was teasing Rukmini. And when he saw it, he was so wonderful to her. And he lifted her back up. That experience was an emotional surcharge for both of them. And it lifted them even higher and higher in their loving, situation that they have together. So not many people understand this. Krishna is very careful to say, Manushyanam Sahasresu. He's saying there's not that many people out of men who even understand who is God. And out of thousands who have tried to understand God, only a few may know, but hardly even one of them knows me in truth. So it is difficult to understand God. It's like if you've got a desire to have the biggest, most beautiful diamond, you better not go there with a few pennies to buy it. Not going to work out. You got to have extraordinary wealth to associate and to purchase such a diamond, such a great, great gift. So what time is it? Oh, it's 8:01. Man, I had a lot of good notes on this thing too. I think I have all these verses I wanted to go over with you guys. that's not gonna happen tonight. But let's just talk about the ultimate, in my mind, the ultimate joy of these two chapters. Okay, and that is that Krishna says, he says to her, she says, she didn't consider his words to be false, Madhusudana. She said she was an ordinary woman with mundane qualities. Okay, but what did Krishna say? He said, the Supreme Lord said, "O saintly lady, O princess, we only deceived you because we wanted to hear you speak like this. We thought it was going to be cute, to see you get a little angry, right? Get a little feisty with me, right?" So he says to her, whatever benedictions you hope for, whatever they are, in order to become free of these material desires, are ever yours, O fair and noble lady, for you are my unalloyed devotee. So here's the goal. become an unalloyed devotee, and then whatever benedictions you hope for, especially to become free of these material desires. Oh, and she nailed it hard, didn't she? She said, "Why would I be interested in these mortal men when I've got God right here? These mortal men are nothing but bone and hair and flesh and feces and bile and mucus and air. And oh my God, think about it." So she ran the whole thing down and took care of it all in one verse, basically. She straightened it all out right there. So why do we want this place? We were going to end up birth, death, old age, disease, and death. I mean, think about it. Not that much fun, is it? I mean, it can be a little fun, but then the fun's over, right? So we don't want to go even up to Brahma Loka because we know that wherever we go, there death is going to follow in this world. So let's plan to go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna says in 8:20, Parastasmat tu bhavo nyo vyakcho vyakchat sanatanaha. He says, yet there is another nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested material matter. It is supreme. Yasa sarvesha bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. He says, it is supreme and it is never annihilated. And when all the world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Now we're back to as it is, aren't we? So that worked out pretty good. All right, guys. Well, it was a beautiful two chapters tonight. Thank you so much for your wonderful reading. Please pray for Gayatri Das, and I shall pray for you as well.
Hare
And
Krishna, can I
yeah,
say 2 points that is not in the Bhagavatam, but it's kind of contrasting between Rukmini and Satyabhama. So in the first chapter, we know Satyabhama went with Krishna to fight Narakasura, and he liberated all the women he got married to, and then Satyabhama asked for the Parijata tree. So um, so it started with Narada Muni gifting Krishna a single Parijata flower from the heaven when he was going to Indralok, and he gifted it, and he gave it to Rukmini Devi, because as you can see, Rukmini is a great devotee of Krishna, and Satyabhama was not happy about that he gave the flower to Rukmini, and that's why when she went to Indraloka, she was like, I want this whole tree. And it is said that the Lord bought the tree and planted it in her palace. However, the branches grew and the flowers were falling on Rukmini's palace backyard, because Rukmini is a much superior devotee, and she's not in the mode of like opulence that Satyabhama is. Another story I heard was there was a balance of Satyabhama wanted to balance Krishna on a weighing balance. One side is Krishna, and she comes from a lot of riches, right? Like her father has the Simantaka jewel and all that. So she was putting gold on one side and Krishna on the other, and the balance would never balance. Krishna was always heavy, so she put all the gold she had, and still it did not balance. And then Rukmini just comes and puts one tulsi leaf, and then it balances. So,
I've never heard that. That's wonderful. That's a good story.
yeah. So it's just contrasting between the two wives, the principal wives of Krishna.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Very, very good. Well, when Arjuna had the chance to avail himself of all of Krishna's armies and horses and chariots and elephants, he didn't want it.
Yeah.
He just wanted Krishna. And Duryodhana and all those guys, they said, yeah, give me the army, man. They thought that would balance them ahead and Krishna's side would be down, but actually it worked the other way. Arjuna got Krishna and Arjuna won the war. So that's the idea. We're going to win the war if we have Krishna. In one verse in here, when Indra, was not satisfied, still wanted to fight. Krishna said, to hell with this opulence, to hell with the opulence of the demigods, because they get caught up in it. If you look at Indra's life, he's always getting in trouble over
Mm.
something. And, I mean, it's quite the story, actually. I mean, it's fun to read.
Yeah.
But this is the king of heaven.
Yeah.
And because he lives literally in the material world like Krishna lives in the spiritual sky,
Mhm.
I mean, in Vaikuntha anyway. Yeah.
Same one who poured rain on Krishna, and he didn't learn his lesson after Govardhan Leela, and Krishna went to fight and get back Aditi's earrings for him. He was the one who asked Krishna for help, and then when Krishna came and asked for the Parijata tree, he wouldn't give it. It's like, how would you not give it to the Lord? And the Lord had to fight him. So it's just that Indra never learns, is what it looks like.
Well, we don't want to be like that, guys. We want to learn because
Yeah.
from a position, even if you're in a high position in the material world, you can become attracted and you can fall down into the whirlpool of material existence. You don't have to go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna is not making you do anything. It's your choice. So whatever you want, just like he says here, whatever benedictions you hope for, they're yours because you're my unalloyed devotee. So in the meantime, he'll give you everything anyway. Krishna give you all your desires in the material world, but you better be careful because whatever you're given could entangle you worse. So we have to be very, very careful not to become entangled, but to use every benefit for Krishna, including Lakshmi. That's his wife. We don't want to steal Lakshmi and put her in some, prison house somewhere and misuse her and abuse her by using her in the wrong ways. Everything should be used for Krishna. And when everything can be attached to Krishna, that's called yoga. That's bhakti yoga. And the more you do it, the more your pure devotion will wellspring from your heart. And ultimately, it will become not sadhana bhakti, but raganuga bhakti, where you're just so attracted you can't help it. And we're hearing that in the stories. These women were so attracted. Krishna walks in, Bhamasura's place there. He walks in. All these wives are there. They're all just like, forget all this other nonsense. We're going to Krishna. So we need to be in the same exact mood. Just forget all this other nonsense. Let's go to Krishna. Krishna is the most beautiful. Krishna, most wealthy, most wise, most famous, most powerful. Yet renounced. He doesn't need you. And he just showed that to Rukmini, and she fainted on the floor. Oh, what a pastime. Anyway, that's one of my favorite stories. I love that one about Rukmini. And it really shows how we should be feeling too. Lord Chaitanya says that, what is it? Nayanam Galadashrudaya, Varanam Gadgara Rudayagira, Pulakarnichitam Bapukada, Tavanama Grahane Bhavishiti. So, when we actually feel vacant in the world, when we're in a position where we're feeling like 1 minute is 12 years and more, and tears are flowing from our eyes because our devotion is so welled over, then we know we're in the right spot. So if we're not there yet, attend the Bhagavatam class. Come to the Bhagavatam class because we're going to be chanting and hearing about the Lord, and hopefully we can all become lovers of the Lord and go back home, back to Godhead. So repeat after me if you'd like to go back home, back to Godhead. I'll say it and then you say it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Music to my ears, guys. Thank you so much for your blessings tonight. I'll look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, same time, same station. Bring the whole world when you come. Everybody needs to hear these stories. Bring everybody, the whole
Yeah.
world.
Rawati, you joined a little late because our clocks went forward an hour. Okay.
Oh,
So if you,
she's
yeah, because you
silent.
came at 8 o'clock for us because our clocks had gone forward an hour. So Rawati, if you could come an hour earlier, then you'll be good.
We would love that.
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully,
guys, thanks so much. Going to end the class at this point. We had a great time. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Oh.